Everything I'm doing here is based on the C major pentatonic scale. 5 notes, that's it. C, D, E, G, and A. The chords, the soloing, the melodies, no more than 5 notes. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Friends and neighbors, welcome back to the Brownstone. This might be the last video in the Pentatonic series. There may be more, there'll probably be more. But for now, I want to get into the chords and the melodies, everything that you heard in the improvisation that I played off the top. So if you've been watching this series, then you know that there are 5 shapes that we've been dealing with that go all across, all the way up and down the fingerboard for the pentatonic scale. I won't go over those shapes because they're in all those videos, all the previous videos. You can check them out. But what I wanted to get into today was some of the note groupings that we got into in the last video. Remember, I talked about each shape of the pentatonic scale, or these shapes that we're using, has a dividing line. And then there are 4 notes below the line and 4 notes above the line. Now here's the simple thing about playing the chords. All I'm doing is playing those 4 notes without the note that appears on the A string. I leave the A string out, and then I play the rest of the notes. So let me show you what I mean by that. If I start with the C major pentatonic scale, this is, if you remember, this is our first shape. So what happens is I have that dividing line at the 4th fret, and then I have 4 notes below the 4th fret and 4 notes above the 4th fret. I have G, C, E, and A. In other words, 3rd fret of the E and A strings, and then 2nd fret of the D and the G string. Now, all I do is I play all of those notes, except for any of the notes that appear on the A string. So then I have G, and then I can bar the 2 notes to get a chord. And then the next thing I did was take the same idea and take the notes that appear on the other side of the dividing line, which in this case has everything on the 5th fret. And then I play 5th fret of the E, 5th fret of the D, 5th fret of the G, and there's my next chord. So in that first shape, I've got these 2 chords. And then in the second shape, that's the A minor pentatonic. We've already established this chord. So then when I go up to the second shape, the dividing line in this case is going to be at the 6th fret, right? So I have all the notes on the 5th fret below the 6th fret, and then all the notes that we have above the 6th fret in that shape are as follows. I've got C on the E string at the 8th fret, and then everything else is on the 7th fret. And if I leave out the A string, I get this shape. Very cool, right? Now, I don't know if you noticed, but that 3rd chord is the exact same shape as our 1st chord. So that makes it a little bit easier to remember, right? I've got these notes, this shape, at the 3rd fret of the E string. I move up to the 5th fret. Everything on the 5th fret is played. And then I play the same shape starting at the 8th fret of the E string, that's C. And then when I look at this 3rd shape, this is C major. So I can see that there's a dividing line that happens on the 9th fret. And then I've got this note that's part of the scale. That's an E on the 9th fret of the G string. So here's what we do. We've got, right? These are the shapes or the pairs that we talked about in the last video. All I'm doing is I'm taking all 4 of the notes in that grouping and omitting the A string. So we've already established this as a chord. Now if I look on the notes at the other side of the dividing line, what else do I have? I've got, so that's 10th fret of all the strings with the exception of the G string, which is on the 9th fret. See how I got that? There's my shape. So when I split that down the middle, I've got these 4 notes, and then I've got these 4 notes. So if I play those notes without the E string, or sorry, without the A string, that's what I get. I'm not necessarily concerned with the names of these chords at this point, because I'm really just thinking about playing different voicings of the C major pentatonic scale, right? That's essentially what we're doing. So those are our first 4 shapes. And then there's only one more, and it's super easy because it's everything at the 12th fret, starting on the E. Because if we look at the next shape, it's that upside down minor pentatonic, right? And since the first shape has already been established from the previous grouping, then all we have to do is figure out the last shape. And it is the last shape because the next one is going to be back to our G, the octave of where we started. So we're really just dealing with 5 chords based on the 5 notes of the pentatonic scale. And then I'm back to G. So in this particular case, because we've started with a major pentatonic scale that starts on the A string, then I want to start from the lowest available note in this position. And in this first position, that lowest note is going to be G on the E string. So that's going to be my starting point. And then back to G. And those are my shapes for these chords. I hope this is making sense. Because again, all I'm doing is I'm using the notes of the C major pentatonic scale and all of the shapes that we've been talking about in the previous videos in this series to create these different note groupings. And then from those note groupings, we play everything with the exception of the notes on the A string. And I can even go up and end on A minor. It's all the same stuff. So check this out. When I play off of that loop that I created, it's very cool because I can take any one of those shapes and play or improvise and come up with different melodies that work with any of these chords. Because remember, we're only playing voicings of C major, of the C major pentatonic. And all of the notes are going to work. So it doesn't matter what shape I start on, everything is going to work. So if we start from, this progression is going to start from the lowest chord, starting from that G. I can take any grouping at random and just play off of it. Volume. Then I can move up to that inverted minor. They all work. Back to C major. Here's A minor. Here's that inverted minor again. Here's C major. Here's A minor again. Here's C major again. So it doesn't matter. I can take any of these shapes and play them on any of these voicings because we're only playing 5 notes. So this is a very cool exercise for a number of reasons, because you really get a sense of where everything falls along the fingerboard. Now we're only using the pentatonic scale. We're just using those 5 notes. So yes, can it end up sounding a little monotonous? Sure. But the main goal is to really recognize the fact that you can play and harmonize literally anywhere on the neck and access these 5 notes so that you can get from one area of the neck to another. And it's not like we're exploring different harmonies or doing things like that. We're really just trying to understand this one sound as it lays across the entire fingerboard. It's a really fantastic exercise to help you to open up the neck. It's the best thing you can do to really open up the neck, by taking 5 notes and finding these 5 shapes and then exploring those 5 shapes in any way that you feel that you see fit. It's a beautiful way to get to know the entire fingerboard. I want to thank you all so much for visiting me here in the Brownstone once again, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.